The first thing about stance that you probably already know is that we stand in a fairly wide stance with knees and toes pointed slightly out. But if our external rotators, our butt muscles, can't hold that toes out position, what happens is our knees start to roll in and our toes stay out. And it creates a lot of torque in our hip and knee and ankles. And that twisting isn't always good for people who have any hip, knee, or ankle problem. So watch for that. If the toes have to be forward, that's just fine. Then we're up to our neck in the water, so shoulders are submerged and they can get the benefit of the water. Then the torso. When I get into position, I tend to lean forward like this because my butt is buoyant and it floats out and up. So I have to work to keep that my tailbone pointed down. If you have clients who can't keep their tailbone pointed down or can't hold their stance because they're asymmetrical and one side is floating, then go ahead and use equipment, use weights, or use buoyancy if they've got a sinking side, and just make it work the best possible way. Finally, about stance in general is the head. We tend to have our head forward all the time. Try to get your chin back and the back of your neck long and hold that stance. This is a trunk control, and we're going to be moving and wanting to maintain this trunk and this stance. Upper extremity movements come first, and these postures are simple. So I'm not going to cover a lot on stance, except you'll see that when people start with floating, they'll start, it'll be like this. Their arms will be going and their torso will be going. If you want to work on core strength, then during these where people tend to use their torso a lot, have them maintain that straight alignment that we just worked on. So upper extremity, I'm not going to get into a lot there. I'm going right to soothing, the first of the trunk stability, which is this. We reach across midline, we look over there, and we're supposed to be able to hold our balance in spite of the fact that now our weight is over here. You will see lots of people will just tilt that way, will turn that way, or will actually weight shift away from it in order to maintain balance. Obviously, we all have to do what we need to do to maintain our own balance. But traditionally in soothing, we keep our weight centered over our two legs as we reach across and look opposite. So it's not a weight shift, it's not a turning sequence, but if it has to be, it has to be. There's no problem with that. Then we move to gathering, which has so many issues. First of all, our feet stay in the same location. They just pivot so that we pivot into a long, narrow tandem stance. Let me show this to you from the side. So we start here and then we pivot. This pivot, one foot is way back, one foot is way front because of our wide stance that we started with. And our balance is very challenged. So if people can't do this stance, then instead of pivoting with the turn, they usually take a step with the turn. And it looks like this. They'll step with this back foot forward. Could you see it? My arms might have been in the way. Back foot steps forward and they pivot like this. Now they're in a fairly wide stance and it's much easier for them to balance. So the stance we'd prefer here is the long, narrow one. Then we reach behind us in gathering and we bring it forward again. When we reach behind us, we're not weight shifting back or forward or tilting. We're maintaining that vertical trunk control and reaching behind us. Then we go to freeing. And in freeing, we turn again, same way. Our feet pivot, and we have 2 hips, 2 knees, and 10 toes, all pointed in the same direction. But this time our head turns and we look the way our hand is going. When that happens, our 2 knees, 2 hips, and 10 toes should still be facing forward. But what happens is this. So now, I don't know if you can see this, but my hip is twisted, my knee is twisted, and my ankle is twisted. That's fine if people have that ability. Let me show it to you from the front so you can see it. This is the way it should be, and this is the way it gets. So if you want to work on stance and that vertical trunk control, then don't put that twisting in. Otherwise, go ahead and use it if it doesn't hurt you. Then we move to shifting. And in shifting, now we're actually going to shift our weight side to side. What I see happen is the butt goes out first. That's not a true shift. We want to maintain that core strength and just shift our weight over there. Another thing that happens is that people push their chest first. That's not shifting either. It can be because I Chi, however it turns out, is the way it's meant to be. Don't ever feel like you're doing it wrong. So we just want to shift our weight over here, then shift our weight over here. We keep our torso upright and facing forward. From shifting, we go to accepting. I think I'll show you this one from the side too. Okay, here we are. I'll try to tuck that under. We pivot, and then we weight shift forward and back. So we just weight shifted side to side. Very important skill for gait, for walking. Now we're shifting forward and back. Shifting forward is very important for walking too. We don't normally shift back. What your body may want to do is lean forward and lean back and lean forward. But what we'd like to do is keep the torso upright, weight shift over the front leg. It's not completely, it's just a shift and not a transfer. And then get your weight shifted over the back leg. So keep the torso upright as you're doing that. And that's accepting. It's the last of the trunk stability. We weight shift back and we weight shift forward. Then we move to accepting with grace. We weight shift back to the side. We lift that front foot up. Again, if people's balance is off or if you're feeling unbalanced that day, then what happens is people lift the foot up and lean forward. That's not the I Chi way. The I Chi way is to keep that torso tall and then lift the leg and then put it down. But what your body will want to do is lean forward here and shoulders forward here to put the foot down. Try to keep the torso where it is. And if possible, lean back a little bit, but totally up to what works for you. So then lift it and lower it without the torso moving. Also, another thing that happens, and I'm in really shallow water here, is that we want this done in with shoulders underwater because that's going to challenge balance more than if people come up and do it like this. If they come up out of the water, it's going to be quite easy. And that's true with any of the postures. The next posture, I'll show it to you from the side too, is called rounding. Rounding We bring the back leg forward. We weight shift forward, which is usually pretty easy for people. And we bring the back leg forward, and then we step back. So in rounding, we actually round the spine, which doesn't happen in I Chi except for this posture. So go ahead and push out the waistband backwards. Point your tailbone forward. Put your chin right down in the water and get that rounding feeling. Then what happens is we go from this, and if for balance, people will step off to the side because this is easier, and they'll come up out of the water. We want to stay low in the water, reach toward those toes, and then step back into a long, narrow tandem stance. So it's a weight transfer forward and a weight shift back. The last of the lower extremity postures is called balancing. Arms go back as the back leg comes forward, and everybody worries about, are my arms back far enough? Is my leg up high enough? Worry about the leg that's holding you up. That's the important one. It's the guy that's supporting all of this. This is your stance leg. So pay attention to that. By the way, often you're going to be up on tiptoes in the pool. If you're in deep water, you may be in tiptoes in balancing also. Once again, you want to make sure that you're in that long tandem stance and you're deep enough that your shoulders are underwater. Cultivating the chi, I'm skipping completely because we've gone over all the stance variations from cultivating the chi. And the only one that is different in total coordinated body movement is crossing. We cross one foot over the other. Now you can cross in front or you can cross behind. I like cross behind because we get the muscles of the posterior chain, the muscles on the back of the body, which are normally weak. But the cross step, I'm going to come up out of the water to show it to you, but that's not normally the way it's done. So make sure you're stepping across. Lots of people will step in front, side, front, side. We need to cross the midline of the body. If we don't cross the midline, we lose the capabilities to do that. So we want to get across and then step out to the side. And across, this time I'm going behind, doesn't matter, and then step out to the side. I hope that these stance variations, these stance ideas have given you some things that you could practice, but make sure that you don't judge yourself. However it turns out is exactly the way it's meant to be. It's going to be perfect.